Coronavirus outbreak. These times are here, and we will see how long it will stay with us. But it has also consequences of the patterns of international trade, and this is very important for the trading nations, as the Poland is, since half of our GDP depends on the international trade. Jerzy Martini, VAT specialist, sir, welcome to the show, is with us. And basic questions, like, for example, will the Chinese products be trusted after the times of this horrible outbreak?
Well, if we look from the perspective of the consumers, that's more a question of how the panic will spread, because as far as now there are no any scientific proofs that you can transmit a virus when shipping goods from China, on a ship 6 months and being delivered after that time to anywhere place. So possibility of getting infected is probably zero. Still, some panic could probably influence the choices of the consumers, which is, on the other hand, positive information for us, for our business, for economy of Poland and Europe. So that's one perspective. The second perspective is probably the perspective of the businesses. So we have seen, a paradise of outsourcing the manufacturing function to China, and most of global players use offshore territories, so like China, to locate the factories, etc. And in situation like coronavirus, we see that this mechanism is simply risky, because, well, what we've witnessed is that some producers, even if they are located in Europe or United States, if they cannot rely on steady supplies from China, then it disrupts the whole chain of supply, the whole functioning of the business. So I would say that this could be some impulse for the end of of this trend of locating the production very far away from the markets of where the products are distributed. So
right now we are speculating, obviously, but it looks like the keyword here in the global economy, when say 90% of chemicals used for the medical products are delivered from China, the keyword is redundance. From the point of view of these international companies that are producing, if they are cut off from 90% of their substitutes for production, they are in big trouble. So they may look for alternatives or for something that will help them to balance this risk.
Exactly. I mean, it's obviously very attractive for the business to locate the production in a low-cost countries, but it's not very safe. Right. What we are seeing. So that's a big choice to make. Okay, either to build our business in a more in a more secure way, or try to use this opportunity of lower prices, but then being exposed for such a situation like we witness right now. And obviously, for a good business, with creating significant added value, probably the better choice would be often to locate the production close to its markets. And I think that Poland could potentially benefit from the situation, because, for example, for the German market, for the Western Europe markets, it's much better to have production in Poland, where the possibility that something wrong will happen, which will break the chain of supply. This risk is very low in comparison with China, that has far away potential military conflicts, etc. So we have seen many situations where suddenly the supply of goods can be disrupted, which is deadly or very difficult for the businesses to run. So I think that the coronavirus could probably be a beginning of a new philosophy of businesses to be more secure, rather than looking simply on the side of the costs.
Will this be influenced by the performance of the given government in preventing the spread of the virus?
I think yes, because maybe not directly, but if we can demonstrate, for example, Poland, that we are a well-organized country, that we can deal with big challenges, that makes our economy, our country, a good place, for example, for investments. Because if the country is well managed and can deal with such difficult times, then if in a negative scenario, such a difficult time will come again, let's have factories in a well-managed countries rather than a country that simply cannot cope with such challenges.
So this is very important moment of proving.
Exactly. PR is important. PR element also very, very vital in terms of where some business new investments are located. So I think it's a very important that our government and our country performs well and stops reduces the coronavirus.
But we are no longer a low-cost country. We have one of the highest GDP growth in Europe. We have 2.9% of unemployment. So really, those people who are far away from the main markets have no skills. They have problem with finding their jobs. At least that was the case in January this year. I have no idea how this situation will change. So the question is, will be able to accommodate another big factories of, say, chemicals for drugs?
Yeah, that's of course that's a good question, obviously, because there are some other reasons that, for example, developed countries are happy in locating their production out of Europe, environmental issues, etc. But again, if we look at the cost side, China is no longer that cheap as it used to be like 10 years ago. So the cost
definitely not that safe as it was 5 years ago.
And responsible business decisions should also take into consideration this extra risk factor. It's cost is a very important decision factor, but still the risk factor is also very important. So I think that, of course, maybe I don't see a chance that Poland will suddenly be a huge producer of low value mass products. Probably not, but still a lot of high value elements are being produced in manufacturing in China, large scale. So
included into this international chains of production.
Yeah. So
this is very important. Jerzy Martini of VAT Tax Advisor, sir, thank you very much for this conversation. And that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business. Watch us tomorrow, same time.